Hey, I'm Dan and I'm learning how to skate again in my 40s. The next step for me in flat ground is learning how to varial flip. Now my ultimate flat ground trick is a tray flip. And recently two of the guys that I really enjoy watching on YouTube, Ben DeGrow and Johnny Geiger, both did tray flip tutorials that got me jazzed to get going again. I recognize that I can't go straight to a tray flip from where I am, so a varial flip is a good halfway step along the way. I have to get my muscle memory ready for that, but I also have to get my brain ready to be able to see the board flip around that much and actually land on it bolts. I also recognize that as my skateboarding skills are going up, my body's getting older, so I'm going to reach an inflection point at some point soon, and I'm trying to make as much progress as I can before I get there. All right, now I had a lot of the right foundation for doing a varial flip. I've spent the last couple of years doing lots of shove-its, so I have the scoop down really well. And I have a decent flick. My kick flips are still pretty rocket, but my flick is pretty decent. And I think this actually is going to help with my flick. So I spent my first couple of sessions just working on understanding the board control. When do you scoop? When do you flick? Do you put your foot further up the tail or a little bit lower down the tail in the pocket? How much do you hang your toes over? Do you pop hard or just scoop hard? With your flicking foot, do you do a true flick or more of a toe drag? For a tray flip, I know you don't flick much at all, but for a varial flip, you actually need a decent amount of flick there. So my first couple of sessions were just playing with that, landing with either my front foot or my back foot, trying to get the board to land in front of me or underneath me, to my left, to my right. Here's a nice slow-mo clip where you can see the motion I eventually ended up with, which is kind of like a scissor motion. Your back foot and your front foot are counteracting each other at almost the exact same time. The board doesn't pop off the ground too much and doesn't go too far in front of you, so that gives you a chance of landing bolts. All right, so at that point in time, I was ready to try to get both feet on the board, but I actually didn't have the confidence to do it on cement because I was concerned I was going to slip out. So I went over to a grass area that was next to some flat ground. I would actually rotate the board, pop it into the grass, and then try to land both feet on the board in the grass. And here's some clips from that session. I eventually got to the spot where I was landing both feet on the board. It also got my board really dirty, but it gave me a little more confidence to give it a shot. So the other night I was back in my garage where the ground is nice and smooth, and I had a decent session working on varial flips again. I had two near lands, like very, very close, and here they are. So in today's session, what I'm going to try to do is land bolts, simply. I'm at the point now where it's time to land bolts, so let's give it a shot. Let's see how much progress I make today. It's getting close. Keeps landing too far to my left. Got to pull it back to the right a little bit and move my body forward and to the left a little bit. So what happened with the primos, I was leaning forward to try to be able to jump forward and catch the board, but because I was leaning forward, I didn't get the flick all the way. So it didn't make it all the way around. All right, so I'm finding that I'm not actually scooping enough. I think it's my body trying to protect itself. If the board only does not quite 180 degrees, then I have less of a chance of slipping out. So I'm gonna scoop a little harder and flick earlier, see if I can get the board to land where I need it to be so I can get on it. So close, so close. Don't need my body like that. Need to keep my body like this. All right, I'm starting to feel it. Got to tuck it in more with that back foot. I can't be jumping in front of me to catch this thing, or I'm just gonna slip out. So it's all about that scoop. Not only am I scooping kind of behind me, but also a little bit to my right. But it was too far out in front of me and to my left. There's no way I'm gonna land it out there. Now listen, I know what you're saying, that I should be rolling when I'm doing this. And trust me, I've done a lot of them rolling. But I figured that it actually adds more variability. So if I can keep myself still for now, figure out where to put the board, I think it's gonna be easier for me, and then I'll be able to transfer it back to rolling. That's a little better, because I scooped harder. Oh, close, but that's not a land. All right, I have a heel on the ground. I have a heel on the ground, but I do have both feet on the board. So that's progress. Okay, we're getting there. All right, so my legs are starting to get a little tired. Take a quick break and refresh with something to drink. But this is the time where I'm actually gonna start moving my back foot further towards the end of the tail so that I get more out of the scoop than if the back foot was further in towards the pocket. All right, I'm back. Got some electrolytes, it's gonna help. So where I am on the flat ground here, it's actually sloped towards my right foot just a little bit. So as I'm sitting there still, I'm actually rolling fakie ever so slightly. And that's helping me have the motion, the momentum to which way to scoop the board so that the board doesn't go too far out to my left and in front of me. All right, I'm really close. Let's try this again. You probably can't see my shoulders, but on some of these tries, turning my shoulder that way just a little bit, and then the board doesn't make a full rotation, now to land it. I have to purposely pull my right shoulder back to be in line with the board, and then I get a good rotation. All right, it feels really good to have a couple of lands under my belt, especially to get that first clean one on video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was fun. I'll admit it was pretty grueling. That was a long session. But now that I have a couple of clean lands, I have the confidence to go out and try to get this trick on lock. Over the next few months, I'm going to work on it a bunch, hopefully be able to land 3 out of 4 and rolling, and then I'm going to work on a tray flip. So look forward to that in a future video. Hey, thanks for joining me. Let's get out there and skate again.